Hello, and welcome to week one of the PGL Season 14, the low tier Terra type drafting draft league. I'm Xand, and I hope you saw my team builder yesterday, get some idea of the sets I'm bringing. And the reason I wanted to record these is honestly, these are some of the highest quality draft games I've played and some of the most interesting league rules I've ever seen. So the rules for this league were obviously it was low tier, so you cut out a lot of the Landrases and the Great Tusk and all the way down to where Armarouge and Goodra were actually the top tier Pokemon in this league. And then one of your 11 draft picks is actually your Terra type. So for my team you see here, every Pokemon can Terra into fire, so at any point I can Terra any one Pokemon into fire. My opponent Cram has these 6 Pokemon, and at any point he can make one of them a poison type. And if we're looking at the team he brought versus the team he has, it's actually super surprising to me. He did not bring his Hisuian Quillfish, which was the only thing really stopping Slowbro from going crazy. So I'm hoping to see it do a lot of work, assuming I can get rid of Haunter or set up a Trick Room first. He also did not bring the Turtonator, which not a big surprise. Can't really do much to a lot of my bulkier Pokemon. He didn't bring the type Null, which I was actually kind of worried about. I think an Eviolite Rest Talk type Null could have been a big threat. And then he didn't bring Rotom-Mow, which is kind of unsurprising because Cyclozar completely walls it. So, for my lead, I think I was going back and forth between leading with Cyclozar, but I think it's very important for Haunter. So I think I will lead with Manectric. Oh, and it's a great first lead, unless it's like a Scarfed max attack Alomomola, which hopefully it's not. We could expect him to bring in Sandslash or Vibrava here. So what I will do is I will just go for a Flamethrower. I think it's safe. There's not really any kind of damage Alomomola can deal to Manectric. He does bring in the Vibrava, and it does literally no damage. So we're going to bring up Manectric. Unfortunately, there are no Vibrava sets in the calc because I don't think this thing's really even used in PU, but it just so happens to completely wall my Manectric. Wow. And with Eviolite, it looks like that is still max special defense or close. Yeah, Flamethrower did 10%. Wow, that's insane. That's like min roll on a max health, max Spadef Vibrava. So he might go for rocks here. Florges does threaten it, but I think I need to keep Florges healthy. So I think I will go Earthworm and just try to get my rocks up. Hey, he does U-turn, that's a good play. I was almost Rocky Helmet on this to help me chip Pokemon down because he does have at least a couple of Pokemon that like to pivot, but traded it for leftovers at the last second because I really just need this Earthworm to stay healthy. So Sandslash doesn't make much sense here. I don't think the button makes much sense either. I do expect him to go maybe into Haunter to threaten me with a special attack, maybe a Focus Blast. Oh, and we're back already, and Alomomola comes back in. I'm not really sure what this Alomomola wants to do because it lost U-turn. I guess it could Whirlpool trap me and do something, but it can't Toxic me. Does it still get Wake Up Slap? Maybe it could do like 10% with Wake Up Slap. Yeah, I'm not really concerned. Even if it wants to knock me off, I do have Rest, and I do have Heal Bell on Articuno, so I can keep this healthy. So we'll just set up my rocks. Oh, and it is Whirlpool Trap. Okay, that's good to confirm. So that Whirlpool did 10%. It's probably uninvested unless it's like a super specially offensive Alo. So we can't switch for now. It's funny, I almost brought a Wrap Earthworm to trap the Alomomola, and it would have been a little awkward if neither of us could switch out. So we'll just go for Body Press here. I assume it does at least slightly more damage. Yep, so 26%, that's not bad to an Alomomola. So I'll put that in the calc real quick. Yeah, so it looks like It's not a Fizdef Alamomola because it would have only taken 15%. Even only max health with a relaxed nature takes 20. So if we get rid of the nature, yeah. So it's probably max health, max Spadef, or could have some speed investment. Actually, it has to have some speed investment because it's consistently outrunning Orthworm. So not really much else to do here. It'll do another 10% plus 12. So I can do one more body press. Okay, it does wish. We'll get chipped by the Whirlpool. It probably just attacks again here. Or it might protect to keep itself at 100. Whirlpool should only last another turn or two. So we'll go for one more body press. Okay, he does protect. And then here I will go for the rest, hoping the Whirlpool ends. So he does wish again, makes sense. But he cannot trap me, and he cannot beat this 1v1. I am unfortunately still trapped by Whirlpool, so I guess I miscounted turns. But now this kind of confirms to him that he can't 1v1 Orthworm. He does switch into Haunter while I'm still trapped. That's smart. I like the name. So he does pass the wish, gets the rocks damage back, so it's not boots, which is not surprising. Cyclozar is my answer to this, but I think his most likely attack to go for right now is Focus Blast. So if we look at Haunter into Articuno, yeah, it should never be able to two-shot Articuno. And I have already burned a turn of sleep, so I think Articuno is my best bet here. He does go for the Focus Blast. I expect him to carry it. Unfortunately, does miss. That is the risk of running that move. I absolutely hate it. The other benefit of going into Articuno on this was actually that we burned 2 uses, so he only has 6 left, and that's only 3, assuming he uses them all on Articuno. So if we have to play the very slow game, it is an option. As I said in the team builder, even though it was only, a minute long, he doesn't have any good freeze dry switch in, so I am just going to try to get some damage on something. He does go Alamomola, so let's see if this is 2-shot. Ooh, only just, because it's not leftovers. So if we look at Alamomola, we switch it to max Spadef, careful nature. Then freeze dry does 43% minimum if it's absolutely max invested. So there's no reason not to just click freeze dry again here. I wonder what, probably helm. No, I would have seen helmet when I went for body press on Orthworm. So maybe it's Wakanberry, emergency check to Manectric. That wouldn't make much sense because it can't really do anything back. Or maybe it could have even been Rindo to help it deal with Tangela that I didn't bring, but I really did think looked good into his team. And honestly, it looks amazing into the team he actually brought other than Haunter. So if we ever do have a rematch, maybe in playoffs, if we both make it there, then Tangela is definitely a good option. So I'm hoping this video goes up on Sunday. Team Builder would go up on Saturday, and I'm hoping to have a kind of overall draft analysis on my team up on Saturday as well. That's not long from now because this is being recorded on a Friday morning. So he does go into the bun. It takes 39% and it is leftovers, so we don't have to worry about any weird items. 39% is in the realm of it being max health, max defense, so that checks out. I don't really think this can do much to Articuno either. It does have Play Rough, Body Press, even if it had something like Fire Fang. Yeah, it's actually weaker than Play Rough, and all of that's only doing about 25%. So we'll just go for a Toxic. I do outspeed, even though I don't have very much investment. And we see that it is Yawn. So Yawn is a good move. It forces me to switch around, but unfortunately for my opponent, Slowbro should always be a switch into this. Oh, and that's a very good prep. So Baton Pass. So knows I'm going to switch and immediately gets momentum. So Sand Slash could really easily go for a rapid spin here, get rid of my rocks. Could also Earthquake, but I have 2 immunities, so I don't know if it would want to do that. So he might also go for Knockoff, get rid of leftovers or boots. Could even set up rocks and spikes. Do have my rapid spinner still in the back. Could have probably put Defog on Articuno as well, but I will just go into Worm. He does go for the knockoff, which is fine. The leftovers were nice against Alomola, but absolutely not required. He cannot Earthquake me, so really has nothing to hurt me. He might double into something like Haunter, Alomola here, try to get some momentum, but he also might spin, so I am just going to burn my second turn of sleep as he does spin. So that's not bad. It's a slow game. I figured it would be slow until I could do some damage with Bro. And knowing that he's Baton Pass on his dash button actually complicates things because it's not just a free switch in like I was honestly hoping it would be. So that knockoff did 17%. So max attack would have done 21 min, so we know that it's probably a more defensive Sand Slash. More defensive Sand Slash means he's taking like 25 to 30% from body press. This is the turn I wake up. I probably can just go for rocks here, actually. I do kind of expect him to switch maybe into Haunter as an aggressive switch predicting the body press, or Aerodactyl even. I do have investment on this Earthworm to live 2 Life Orb Special Aerodactyl Flamethrowers, unless he's like incredibly invested into special attack. I could also Terra here if I am really expecting a Fire type move, but I should always live this, and a Heavy Slam should always KO Aerodactyl in return. I have not shown Heavy Slam. I don't think he thinks I'm Sleep Talk, but he might expect something like Earthquake. So, I do think it's worth getting rid of Aerodactyl now to go for the Heavy Slam. He does go for Fire Blast and he does miss. I'm going to apologize. Because it does depend on his investment. But a Fire Blast from a standard Aerodactyl does 52 to 61. If he's no special attack investment, and he changes his nature to like a plus defense nature, then it still only does 68%. So he would have had to have some EVs in special attack to have actually KO'd Earthworm. Haunter does come back in. I don't mind if Articuno gets poisoned by a Sludge Bomb or takes a Shadow Ball, so I will just switch back into that. I don't think that's too big of an issue. Shadow Ball, oh, holy crap. Shadow Ball crits Articuno. I mean, honestly, kind of deserved for the miss, so I'm not complaining. Even though Articuno is very important to this game, his Aerodactyl also was as well. So choice specs on a crit, yeah, that has to be choice spec Shadow Ball. So Cyclozar is an absolutely free switch in here. There's no way it's anything but choice specs. So he does have a few options to go into. I think knockoff is always the best play. It guaranteed KOs this Haunter, and it gets rid of any one item. So we could get rid of the dash buttons or the dock buttons leftovers, as we do. Unfortunately, even though it's only going to be sitting at 29%, there's absolutely nothing the Cyclozar can do to this Pokemon. So he might get a free wish here. Yeah, my strongest attack against this Rapid Spin, that does 11. So we'll just go for U-turn. Do a little more chip. If it's not wish, then that's good for us. If it is wish, it's a little bit slower of a game, but if it's wish, then there's no way it's Hillbell. So that means this Toxic is permanent. I also don't know that the Alo would be Hillbell with Whirlpool. I already have Rocks up. I don't really need to go into Earthworm. We'll just go back into Bro. Even if it's predictable, he might Baton Pass. Yep. So Sand Slash gets to come back in for free and Rapid Spin again, which is totally fine. I don't mind playing this game because I'm constantly chipping down the dash button, and I'm not taking any permanent damage myself. So it is, in the end of the day, it is a win. I will pause again here. Oh, nope. He makes a move. Seems to be wired into my mic and knows exactly when I'm about to pause. So he could Earthquake, predicting me to try to stay in, knowing that he wants to spin and get rid of his Sand Slash. I don't think it's worth the risk, so we'll just go back into Earthworm. There's no reason to predict yet because we are in kind of the front seat. Spins again, gets rid of Rocks. It's kind of hard for him here. What is his switch in to Earthworm other than Haunter? could predict that. So if we look at my Orthworm calc into a standard Haunter, although I do predict him to have some health because his Haunter outruns everything on my team pretty naturally above Articuno, so he can definitely run some health. So this Heavy Slam may not kill, it's likely a roll. But if he does go into Haunter here, I do want to try to catch it. Oh, he sets his own rocks, okay. That makes sense. Heavy Slam does 37%. So, that's interesting. That's like showing offensive, but his attacks are not showing as offensive. So that means he has some bulk and some speed investment, likely, and probably some offense, but not full in any way. So I will just set my rocks back up. That way Dash Bun pretty much only gets to come back in one more time, assuming it doesn't catch a wish from this Alomomola. To prevent that, assuming he does set a wish, I could go into Florges, but again, it is kind of my late game sweeper. Could go into Articuno. I don't expect this last move can knock me out. I am heavy duty boots, so the rocks don't matter. So he does go for wish. So he could whirlpool me, do some chip damage, but it won't KO me. I feel like he might try to switch into Dock Spun to heal it, so we'll go for Freeze Dry. And he does just stay in, does do 52%, and we get the freeze. I am so sorry. That is part of the problem of playing the slow game back and forth when we both have, you know, Wish Passing, Regenerator, is hacks does tend to kind of add up. Okay, so he does switch to Poison type, so he does completely wall Articuno now, and he does have Toxic. Okay, it's good to confirm. Something cool though is even though we only have 8 Heal Bells, he has 16 Toxics. He actually only has half as many Toxics because of pressure. So all I have to do is make him waste 1 Toxic, and he won't have enough left to beat Articuno 1v1. I will just Freeze Dry here, maintain some pressure. He will Wish again, probably protects here, so we'll go for a Heal Bell. Show off that 4th move on the set. He does not go for Protect, which, you know, makes sense. He does miss his Whirlpool, which is unfortunate. Here I think is the time to make an aggressive switch. So we know he's Whirlpool, Toxic, Wish, Protect, so he can't really threaten any of these Pokemon on switch in. Unfortunately, he is also Poison type, so it's kind of hard for me to deal any meaningful damage. But I do think it is worth taking some damage on Bro here to get him in. Drop a Psychic, does Whirlpool. He might Protect here for the extra chip damage, but as soon as he switches out, I'm allowed to switch out. So if I think he protects, I actually want to line up a Future Sight here. So I think I will do that. Oh, he just hard switches. Okay, straight into Vibrava. So that's good. We actually get our full health back. So I'm not sure what this Vibrava wants to do. It's only shown U-turn so far. But he can't really get Bun back in. His only real threat at this point is Alomomola walling out multiple of my Pokemon, which is unlikely, and Haunter dealing some big damage at the end. But I think as specs, I always have 2 Pokemon that outspeed, 3 Pokemon that outspeed, 2 that always one-shot it. So I'm not as concerned about the Haunter at this point. I think I will go into, well, no, Cyclozar's a bad play in case he is like crazy max attack outrage, even though it shouldn't be max attack. I'll actually just go into Orthworm here. I think it's as safe as a play gets. He does Earthquake, so he does heal me. I do get the Earth Eater. And he probably does U-turn here, back into Alomomola. So if I wanted to threaten that, I think I can actually double into Florges here, because if I can trick this Choice Scarf onto Alomomola, I think that opens up this game to be a lot easier for the end game. Oh, and he's double Toxic. Okay, so he's Toxic Vibrava. I guess he did want it to stay in and take the Future Sight, which did do 44%. That's meaningful damage on something that's very bulky. Wow, yeah, so that essentially confirms how specially defensive this guy is. It has to be Eviolite Max Spadef. Even then, oh, I guess without the Life Orb. Yeah, so that makes total sense because the Life Orb proc doesn't happen with Future Sight. Wow, that is a very bulky Brava. Since he does have a lot of Pokemon weak to Psychic, it might be worth clicking that. The only thing that wouldn't die to it is this Vibrava. Although Moonblast is just chip, so I think I will just go for the Moonblast. He does go into Alomomola, which is totally fine. If anything, this is conditioning that Alomomola is a free switch into Florges. So I don't mind getting re-trapped with Articuno because I do 1v1 this pretty successfully. Okay, Whirlpool is 24 PP, so we can't completely wall that out. So we'll just go for the Roost here, get some health back. Let's go for Wish. I'm surprised he didn't try to set another Toxic, but that's totally fine. I will not be heal belling unless he Toxics Articuno. I don't mind if my Florges is Toxic. We'll go for a Freeze Dry. And unfortunately, this is kind of what to expect from, I think, a lot of these games. I do want to bring some more hyper offensive teams, but just with the way I drafted my team, it's set to be, you know, bulky, slow game, get your health back, you heal up a lot. He does bring in the Bun, and we do Freeze Dry to knock it out, so that's one less threat. The only thing I could see him wanting to bring in here is Haunter, but okay, he brings back the Aloe. I guess to wish the Bun up in case I didn't go for Freeze Dry. That was the play there. Fortunately, it did not catch me. I do expect it to, I guess, just Whirlpool Toxic. I do want to speed this process up if at all possible because it is pretty annoying. So I will go back into Bro here. Without the Bun, he now doesn't have a Sack if I do go for a Psychic. And I think Psychic probably gets a kill here regardless of what he goes into, unless Aloe might tank one. So I will just go for the raw Psychic. I could Trick Room, but in case something like Sandslash does eat one, I don't want to give away my win condition. Okay, he does go for a Wish. Psychic cleanly one-shots because I didn't show off my Life Orb earlier, which is way more beneficial than I expected. Yeah, Psychic probably one-shots that Aloe no matter what. Let me see if it's max Spadef. The careful nature similar. Well, Psychic does less. So if it's poison. Okay, so that was a max roll. If he's absolute max health, max Spadef with a Spadef boosting nature. If he's anything else, then it wasn't a roll and it would have killed. So Sandslash does come back in. At this point, he'd show Knock, Rapid Spin, Stealth Rock, and I assume Earthquake. So I do believe Earthworm is always completely safe to bring in on this Sandslash. I think we always win this 1v1. We do eat the Earthquake. He does get a Sandslash back to full, so this is kind of the last big remaining threat. I will just go for Heavy Slam because it is guaranteed damage. He does Rapid Spin to get his rocks away. That does make sense because this Haunter wants to switch in as much as possible. He might expect me to try to set up rocks again here, since he really can't damage me, so I will just go for a second Heavy Slam, hoping to deal some damage to Haunter. And Vibrava is actually what comes in. Heavy Slam does KO. That does kind of confirm that it was full Spadef. Haunter comes in, it does have to select a move to lock into. Focus Blast would make the most sense into Earthworm, but I think Shadow Ball would also do a ton of damage, and if he lives at Heavy Slam, that kind of forces me to pick a Sack. It's kind of tough though, there's not one move he can lock into that beats all of my Pokemon, and I do, if I can, want to play for differential, because I do know there are some incredibly talented players in this division. I would say every player is very talented, so last season and the season I won my championship in this league in season 10, it did both times come down to differential, and I'm usually very bad at maintaining it. So I think my safest play is actually Florges. I think the attack he's least likely to lock into here is Sludge Bomb, because I could go Bro predicting Focus Blast, and I could go, or I could just stay in with Earthworm sacking it. So I think Sludge Bomb is the least likely move, and I will outspeed as I come back in. He does go for Focus Blast, he does miss again. I am very sorry for how much bad luck has happened to you. I feel like I've only had one instance with the crit, and you've missed multiple attacks, you've been frozen, even though you thawed. So I do hope the rest of the season goes better for you moving forward, Cram. I will just click Psychic here. I think it's safe. We do show off our Scarf, and we do get the KO on Haunter. Then Sand Slash comes back in. Unfortunately, our Manectric really didn't get to do anything in this battle. I do think... I'm not sure who I want the last kill on. I could get it on Articuno or on Orthworm. I think Orthworm was really the carry in this game, so I think he does deserve the final KO. My opponent already said GG. I don't want to say GG back until the game is completely over. I know it is seemingly over at this point, but I don't want to give the wrong idea. Cool, so we will go for body press. It is a 2-hit KO. Goes for knockoff, and we do successfully win week 1 with a 6-0. GG to my opponent, and sorry for the hacks. It is something that's going to happen, but there it is. And so week 1 of the PGL season 14, we do come away with a pretty clean win. I think my opponent's team, very bulky, not a lot of breakers. So all I had to do was kind of get past this Aerodactyl, which is why I was so willing to give up Orthworm, even though it was so important to the rest of the opponent's Pokemon. I think we still could have made things happen if we had lost Orthworm to the Aerodactyl, but it remains to be seen. And if we do play again, I will expect the Aerodactyl to be something like Specs Fire Blast to get rid of this Orthworm faster. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in the future.